What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Khamzat Chimaev versus Kamaru Usman opening odds set. Although the fight has yet to be confirmed, betonline.ag has already posted the opening lines for a potential fight between Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev. The pair have continued to trade barbs on social media, mysteriously tweeting at one another as fans clamor for the UFC to finalize the matchup. Although the two seem to have worked things out amongst themselves, UFC President Dana White has already stated that with Chimaev destined for middleweight, the fight won't take place unless Usman moves up to 185. Although he has teased fighting as high as 205 pounds, many wrote off a potential move to middleweight for Usman. Despite that, the back and forth between the two has forced sportsbooks to make opening lines for the potential fight, with Chimaev opening up as a -175 favorite to Usman's +150 underdog status. Amid opening odds surfacing, Chimaev posted a message to Usman on Twitter, sharing a photo of himself looking absolutely shredded. So far, no word yet from Dana White. However, many have predicted that the UFC president has not changed his mind on the two fighting at middleweight, or not fighting at all. In addition, with Chimaev rumored to be fighting Paulo Costa in Abu Dhabi later this year, White has stated that personal problems are currently keeping the two-division contender away from the octagon. Although Chimaev has refuted that there's anything keeping him from the octagon, there have been speculations that visa issues could be preventing him from competing in the United States, which would explain why he's called for a summer fight in Sweden and a fight at the end of the year in Abu Dhabi. Do you think we'll ever see Chimaev and Usman fight inside the octagon? Sean O'Malley feeling confident about upcoming title shot. After a closely contested bantamweight title fight in New Jersey, Sugar Sean O'Malley met Aljamain Sterling inside the octagon for a highly anticipated stare-down months in the making. Heading into the Funkmaster's UFC 288 clash against Henry Cejudo, it was clear that the winner would compete against #1 contender Sugar Sean O'Malley. During a recent interview with UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping, O'Malley gave his thoughts on the looming fight against Aljamain Sterling later this year, revealing that after coming face-to-face with the bantamweight champ, he feels even more confident about their matchup.
I thought Henry won. I haven't gone back and rewatched it, and I keep saying I'm going to, and I am going to sooner than later. Tim and I are going to go watch it together, kind of game planning for Aljamain. But yeah, it was cool to watch them in live in person. You know, it definitely made me more confident, especially getting in the cage with Aljo face to face.
After re-watching the fight, O'Malley had a bit of a change of heart regarding who he thought won. After scoring the fight in Henry Cejudo's favor on fight night, upon rewatch, he had the fight scored for Aljamain Sterling 4-1. Although the scorecards for the fight had been the subject of much debate, O'Malley is now on the collision course with the man many are beginning to call the greatest bantamweight of all time. Khabib Nurmagomedov expands his horizons with latest venture. Khabib Nurmagomedov has continued to keep his name in the headlines despite the fact that he's now retired from both fighting and coaching. In addition to his Eagle FC promotion, Khabib has now set his sights on growing his business portfolio. After teasing the opening of a new gym in Abu Dhabi later this year, Khabib spoke about his recent partnership with a company called Royalties in a video for Instagram, saying,
"Now, as a businessman, in MMA world, I want to grow on my own business with my personal brand, Khabib. For example, soon I will open Khabib Gym Network. Royalties is a very innovative concept for the fans. They can follow success of their favorite fighters. That's great. Royalties can help young talents and support them."
As Khabib teased earlier this year, his first Khabib Gym will be one of the best gyms in the world with a wide variety of offerings for everyone. From MMA and grappling programs to a section for kids, the Eagle is ready for his Khabib Gym to take the world by storm. Whether or not the Hall of Famer ever winds up returning to coaching, only time will tell. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Conor McGregor eyeing UFC history. This past weekend at UFC Fight Night Charlotte, Ultimate Fighter alumni Matt Brown tied Derek Lewis for the most knockouts in UFC history. After his first-round knockout win over Court McGee, Brown expressed his desire to surpass the Black Beast and cement his place in the UFC's history books. At the same time, however, former two-division champion Conor McGregor is also eager to compete for the record. Following Brown's win, the Irish superstar took to Twitter to reflect on the Immortals' victory, writing, "Matt Brown, at 42 years of age, now holds the joint highest KOs inside the UFC with 13 KOs, McGregor tweeted after UFC Charlotte. Him and the Beast Lewis are tied. I hold 8 KOs inside the UFC currently, at 34 years of age. I'm getting this record. Brown was quick to respond the very next day, offering to fight McGregor for the knockout record, before then wishing the former champ a happy Mother's Day. The Immortal also jokingly called for a catchweight fight between he and Derek Lewis to decide who the UFC's true knockout king should be. McGregor's coach, John Kavanagh, also was quick to weigh in, posting a gif from Rocky as he looks to get the former champ back in the octagon. At the age of 42, Brown is showing no signs of slowing down. After snapping a 2-fight skid by knocking out Diego Lima back in 2021, Brown dropped a narrow split decision to Bryan Barberena before bouncing back with his big win over Court McGee. UFC fight updates and rumors. On the heels of Aljamain Sterling's big title defense over Henry Cejudo, Triple C was quick to call out Merab Dvalishvili in the days that followed, leaving many fans wondering where that could possibly leave Corey Sandhagen, who called out the machine after his big win over Marlon Chito Vera. According to reports, the UFC is now looking to book Corey Sandhagen a fight against Umar Nurmagomedov, who has been reportedly struggling to find an opponent. With Sandhagen sitting just outside of title contention and Nurmagomedov looking to ascend the division's rankings, the stakes will be at an all-time high for both men. Terrence McKinney was quick to react to the news, saying that a fight between the two would be crazy. This week also saw reports surface that Bryan Barberena will likely be fighting Mahmoud Muradov at UFC London on July 22nd. The fight will see Barberena look to snap a 2-fight skid that saw him recently lose to Gunnar Nelson, while Muradov looks to bounce back from recent losses to Gerald Meerschaert and Caio Borralho in his 2 most recent fights. Last but certainly not least, we have a follow-up on the UFC Fight Night Charlotte bout between Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker. After being on the wrong side of a decision, Smith has now released his first statement on the fight, writing, "Congrats Johnny Walker and team, I have a lot of reflecting and thinking to do. Thanks to everyone who is and still are sticking by me." Amid a 2-fight skid, many are wondering just what the future may hold for Lionheart.
And now for our breaking news story of the day, we have UFC President Dana White revealing sad news about one of their UFC Fit locations. A UFC Fit gym on Manhattan Avenue has abruptly shut down, leaving concerns about UFC's future in the gym space. It is reported that UFC Fit sold all of its equipment and transferred all memberships to a nearby gym called Crunch Fitness. Is this shutdown of UFC Fit in Manhattan the first of many more closures to come?
Dana White unimpressed by Johnny Walker. Although it was a dominant one, UFC President Dana White wasn't exactly impressed with Johnny Walker's decision win over Anthony Lionheart Smith. Early in the first round, and again late in the fight, Smith got dropped. However, Walker never swarmed in for the kill. As fans are well aware, one of the things that triggers White the most is fighters taking the passive route rather than going in for the kill. Many years ago, UFC legend Anderson Silva found himself on White's bad side after coasting to a decision rather than pressing the pace and going for a finish. During the post-fight press conference, White weighed in on Walker's win, saying,
"Walker didn't really wow anybody tonight, but he won. He was put on the co-main event to kind of shine tonight. He got a W, so I guess that's good. Obviously, he's in there with a very durable, tough guy and a dangerous guy in Smith, but Smith got dropped, was hurt in the first round, then his leg was gone, and Johnny never went, for the finish, never tried to finish a fight, just tried to fight safe and get the win."
With Walker now on a 3-fight winning streak, the expectation is that when the latest UFC rankings come out, Walker will see a significant bump given that he just beat number 5 ranked Anthony Smith. What did you think of Walker's win? And who do you want to see him compete against inside the octagon next? Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for joining us today. What do you make of what's going on in the fight world? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest news from the MMA Zone. See you next time.